Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So in the previous video, what we were talking about is a couple of options of how we could look at this move here. So we still haven't invalidated that idea that what we could have here is a bigger fourth wave, where we could still be looking for a fifth wave to the downside. Now we could look to possibly move down to as deep as this 0803 to this 0665 as a potential target for this as a fifth wave. Now it is also possible, however, that this fourth wave is not yet completed and we could actually still see one more push to the upside. There's a few ways that we were looking at this, and then we're going to talk about what would happen if we look to invalidate this. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing back above this 1785, and that would invalidate the idea that this is a fourth wave and that we're still looking for that fifth, and would then mean that this move to the downside is more than likely just one bigger corrective structure here, in which case we could be looking for a more substantial push to the upside here before looking for that continuation down. So make sure you watch that macro video because we go over this in a lot of detail within there. Now, if we are looking at this as a fourth wave, like I was saying before, we could potentially be looking for this move to start to break down from where we currently are, though it wouldn't be my primary expectation. If we are looking for a break to the downside from where we currently are, what we need to be careful of is the potential that this could be a wave one as an expanding diagonal. Now this is already less likely because of the fact that, you know, these are not as common. So at the moment this could be potentially 1-2, but we'd have to see a much bigger move down towards this 0956 to hit our 1.618 for confirmation. Now what we could argue within this is that what we have in the secondary count here is that this is 1-2, and what we'd be looking for would effectively be this 1052 to confirm this as a 5-wave structure. At the moment, we just have 3 waves, so we need to be cautious of the idea that we could look for a reversal and looking to come back up and looking to invalidate these structures by taking these highs. If we do look to continue to break down, if we do hit this 1052, then this would align with the idea that this is 1-2, and that effectively what we have here is a bigger third wave. Now it is possible as well, this could be 1-2-1-2 here, which would actually say that we're going to get a bigger retracement to the downside here, in which case our 1.618 of that secondary count would actually be all the way down here at this 0999. Now if we do get a move directly down to this point, it would mean that we're extending out. Now it's like I said, it's not my primary expectation at the moment, but what I'm looking out for is if we do get this yellow 5-wave count, what this could mean is that we see price come back actually into this 1-to-1 here, which would be this 1034. Now, if we did see something like that, this would still align with the idea that we could still be looking at this as a bigger A, B, and a C to the upside. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this structure to see if we just get a 3-wave move down here and we don't actually hit this 1618 here at this 0956, then we could actually just be looking at a corrective structure still here. So we're going to go over that corrective structure now. Now, we were talking about this being potentially a W, an X, and a Y, where what we were saying is that this was a W wave, this is an X wave, and what we're looking for is A, B, and C. So we've actually come down into that target box that we talked about in the previous video. We're talking about this area here of the 786 and this 854. So we've already come down into this area. If we do get this as 1, 2, 3, and we break down a little bit more for that third wave target, 4 and 5, something like this, this could align with coming back down here into this 1-to-1 target, which would be here towards this 1043. Now this would be quite deep, and you know, it would already come past this 0.854. If we do get a deep retracement like this, then it becomes more likely that if this is a corrective move where this is A, B, and then we're looking for a C wave here, that this will be looking at potentially becoming a flat correction. So we could see a 5-wave move to the upside after completing this to the downside. Now this is only if we continue to hold the support zones. If we start to break down and hit those impulsive targets, then it becomes likely that we're going to actually see some extension to the downside rather. So we want to stay away from that 0965 area. Now if we are looking at this as a bigger corrective structure to the upside, we want to see this complete within our support zone here, and then we want to see a 5-wave move to the upside here. Now at the moment, because we still hold this low, this could technically still play out as a 3-wave move, where this effectively would be 3, 3, and 3. But then this would mean that we'd have to start looking at this as an A wave, B wave, and then looking for a C wave to the upside. If we want to say that this is aligning with this W wave here, what we would be looking for is effectively a 335 to the upside. So this is why I'm looking out for this potential that we could still look to move up back into this W wave high here. 1-to-1 off of our current level would actually bring us up into this 1315. But if we do look to extend up slightly here, between this 1382 and this 1236 would be a retest of these levels. So we're going to have to see how we react here. We only have 3 waves to the downside so far, so this can always look to reverse up in this C wave. So that is looking for this potential of actually developing here as, you know, W, X, and Y. Now, we were also talking about the other potential here that we could see this as A, B, and C. Now, this is technically still alive here. What we were talking about previously was actually looking at something like an expanding diagonal here, but we came down and invalidated this by crossing this 1097. So because of that, we got rid of that now. Effectively, we're also looking for that potential that if we did hold support higher up here, we could look for a direct push. That has been also invalidated. So I'm going to remove that from the chart. Now, we could technically still get something along these lines where we could still look for a C wave to develop, but develop as a diagonal pattern. Now, invalidation of this would come by crossing this 1027. If we do hold this zone, because we have 3 waves up, we have 3 waves down. If we get another 3 wave move up that fails to break above this 1317, what we could then be setting up for is this idea here of a diagonal pattern to the upside, and this would make this then A, B, and C. So that would be looking for that idea of that corrective move. Now, it is also possible if we get something like a diagonal here, this could become 1-2. We get another 1-2 here, and then we look to push up in a bigger third wave, as long as we hold this 1027. But if we lose this zone here, then it becomes more likely we are looking for that direct push to the downside for that 5th wave. So still looking out for that 5th wave. It hasn't invalidated yet. Now, we're also talking about something which is actually fitting the structure quite nicely. Now, what I want to see with this is if we are looking at this as a 4th wave triangle here, where this becomes A, B, C, D, and we're looking for an E wave here, we have actually come down into the 786, which is a common area for a D wave in relation to the C wave. So it's one of the target areas. If we do continue to hold this level here, what we could then see is a 3 wave move back to the upside. 1222 to this 1189 would align with the idea of this being an E wave, so that would have good proportions to this D wave here. If we do look to extend out higher here, then possibly we could look to move up through these through this trend line that we've got over here. At the moment, this isn't actually on our C wave, so effectively it would be something like this. So we can see how this would align quite well with this golden pocket, as well as, you know, if we do have a slight break to the upside, this 1222 is actually going to be our 0.786. Now, if we do see a E wave push to the upside here, sometimes what we can see with E waves is they can get quite volatile, and you might see these just slightly break the C wave high. But then what we want to see is that rejection and that continuation down to confirm it. So if it starts breaking too high above the C wave, it starts to become less likely that we're going to see a triangle here. And then invalidation effectively is above this high here of this 1411. So as long as we remain within that zone, potentially we can look at this as a triangle. Invalidation to the downside would come by breaking down past this 1027. Losing 1027 here, we cannot cross this B wave. Otherwise, effectively, this is not a triangle then, because we're not allowed to lose that B wave. So if we do see 3 waves up, could potentially start to see 5-wave structure developing to the downside after that E wave to the upside. So going to be keeping an eye on this level here. Like I said, you know, we still have that potential. We could form these additional 4ths and 5ths to the downside. If we take this low, this invalidates this idea of the triangle here. So going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, we were also talking about a bullish potential here, where what we were saying is that this could also be 1-2. So that was looking at this potential of this being a diagonal here as a 1 and a 2. And this is why we're still looking for that possibility of either a C wave to the upside or a Y wave to the upside here, because of the fact that, you know, this could just be A, B, and C, and then we look to break down from there. Alternatively, if we do start to see structure hold lows and we continue to push up impulsively, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 2205. This would align with the potential of a break to the upside here. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing this 0901, and once we start to lose this 0991, this starts to become less likely that we're going to see this kind of a impulsive move to the upside. If this is going to just be A, B, C, then 1-to-1 target is here towards a 1672 currently. It says they're actually slightly lower here. So 1612 will be our 1-to-1, which also does bring down our third wave to this 21.26. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price start to break to the upside here, it could be that this is all just a corrective move here. Or alternatively, like I said, we form 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a diagonal, find 3-wave support back above these lows, and then we start to develop into that bigger structure from that point. It is possible we could argue this is 1-2 here, but the structure isn't very good, so we're going to go over that anyway. If we are looking at this as a 1 and a 2 here, effectively what we have to say then is that this whole structure is a wave 2. Now the problem I have with this is very large in relation to this wave 1, if this is the case, but as long as we hold 1027, it is technically possible that we could see this play out, where this is 1-2, and then we'd be looking for a bigger third wave here towards this 1463, but we would not want to see this low getting taken. So if we start to get these additional fourths and fifths to the downside, the probability becomes less likely here that we are getting a move in this manner. And what becomes more probable then is that, you know, this is going to be a corrective structure. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I'd still like to see this push up one more time, to be honest with you, but I want to see whether we actually get a bit of a deeper move down here, possibly towards this 1-to-1 before we do this. If we do take this low, technically speaking, it could still be a B wave. If we're looking at this structure here, because this could become a bigger flat correction where we get an expanding flat. If that's the case, then what we typically look for a B wave target is, so if we do see a 3-wave move to the downside here, A, B, C, so even if this C wave does look to extend down slightly towards this 1027 to this 948, we still need to just be cautious because this could still be looking for a flat correction. So if we just see 3 waves down here, then potentially we could just see this as a flat, and then we could look for 5 waves still to the upside, looking for this idea that, you know, this whole move is still W, X, and this move here is A, B, and C for that Y wave. So the targets would remain the same if that's the case. Effectively 1-to-1 would be up here towards the 1609, and then we would also have, you know, some lower targets aligning with that idea of coming back into the channel. So it'd be very interesting to see if we get, you know, a break to the downside like this, you know, possibly looking to just sweep these lows and then seeing that push back up. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we've actually reached all of our targets that we have for today. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this level holds here at this 1073. If we do hold this, we could potentially see price get gravitated back to the upside. Now we do have potential resistance above us at this 1115. We have this 1137. The central lines here are between this 1154 and this area here of this 1157. If we do see this hold and we see price reverse to the upside, if we do manage to reclaim these central lines, upside targets for today could be this 1177. We have this 1198, 1218, and this 1237 as possible upside targets for today. So if we do see price look to reverse to the upside here, going to be keeping an eye on these upper targets here as potential areas we could see price move into. Now we can always move through these lines, we need to just always be aware of that. Now what we can see here is on the weekly we have actually printed a higher central CPR lines here, but we have actually rejected to the downside here. So the immediate bias would have been looking for a bullish move here, but we need to see whether we can hold this S1 line. If we manage to hold this 1092, then we could potentially see price look to have a reversal to the upside here, looking for some of these higher targets. Alternatively, if we look to break down, what we could see is 1027 get tested and this area here of this 942 to the downside. If we do look to reverse to the upside and get back above these lines, need to just bear in mind we could find resistance here between this 1169 and this 1190. Upside targets for this week are sitting at this 1243, this 1330, and this area here of this 1396. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these levels to the upside if we do see price continuing to push up here and we do manage to find support. If we now have a look at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that we are currently below our central line here. Now these lines are very tightly spread, so this is indicating volatility. Downside targets we still have for this month open is this 0900. we have this lower range here of this 0581 and this area here of this 263. So if we do see price move back to the upside here, we could potentially find resistance in this area of these central lines, just sitting between this sort of 1213 and this high area here of this 1222. If we do see price move back above these, then we could see it actually get gravitated back to the upside here, in which case 1537, 1858 and this level here of this 2177 are possible upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.